Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to learn very famous poem written by Walt Whitman, that is Song of the Open Road. So as usual, before we begin with line-wise explanation of the poem, let us know a little more about the poet. Walt Whitman was born in America in 1819 and he passed away in 1892. He was one of the most influential poets in American English literature. His Leaves of Grass is famous collection of poetry. In fact, the present poem is also taken from the same collection. He also popularized poetic device free verse and hence he is regarded as father of free verse. This present poem is also one of the example of free verse. Now let's begin with a poem Song of the Open Road. Now before we begin with Song of the Open Road's actual explanation, let me tell you some of the important aspects of this poem. First aspect is this poem is written in free verse pattern. And second very important thing is it is written from first person's point of view. And as it is written from first person's point of view, it creates an impact on listeners, readers, that as if that narrator is having conversation with us, poet is talking with us, he is narrating his experiences with us. That impact we get. Now without wasting our time, let's begin with our poem. The first stanza is afoot and light-hearted I take to the open road, healthy, free, the world before me, the long brown path before me, leading wherever I choose. See, the very first word of the first stanza is afoot and light-hearted. Afoot, it means he is ready. He is ready to take on a journey. In this poem, Walt Whitman, he actually is explaining us about a journey that he is about to embark on. And he is ready for that journey. He is prepared for that journey. And he is light-hearted. He is light-hearted, it means he does not have any kind of expectations or desires. And he simply wants to take to the open road. This is actually metaphorical. The road here it means mobility. It signifies life. So it is one of the figures of speech that he has used here in this poem, and that figure of speech is metaphor. Now let's begin with the next line of the first stanza. Healthy, free, the world before me. He says that he is physically as well as mentally prepared to accept problems that will come in his journey, and he is ready to welcome them. The long brown path before me, leading wherever I choose. And he says that this long brown path, this road, he does not know where that road is leading, but he is ready to go with that. He simply wants to accompany, he simply wants to move on. And from this first stanza, we come to know some of the personality traits of Walt Whitman. And that is, he is very bold and courageous. He loves accepting challenges. Now let's move on to the next stanza. Henceforth I ask not good fortune. I myself am good fortune. See, the very first line of this stanza exhibits his level of confidence. Walt Whitman is very confident about what he is going to do. And he says that I'm not worried or I'm not going to pray for good fortune, because he feels that he believes that he himself can control his fortune. And that's why he is not praying for good fortune. Henceforth I whimper no more. He says that I'm not going to whimper. Whimper, it means to cry. If there comes any problem in my journey, I'm not going to cry over that problem. Postpone no more. It means I'm not going to delay any step to overcome that problem. Need nothing, and I need nothing. I'm self sufficient. I can accept any challenge. I'm not going to cry for any problem. In fact, I will step over, I will overcome that problem. done with indoor complaints. He says that I'm done with all those household things, libraries, querulous criticisms. Querulous, it means complaining criticisms. He simply now wants to sit free from those four walls of his house. He is strong and contained. I travel the open road. He is satisfied. Content, it means he is satisfied and he is strong and he wants to simply travel the open road. From this second stanza, we come to know that the poet is very, very confident. He is bold and courageous and he knows how to overcome problems. Here in this second stanza, poet has used figure of speech repetition. As you can see, in the second line of this stanza, no more is repeated, and that is an example of figure of speech repetition. Now let's jump to the next stanza. The earth that is sufficient. I do not want the constellations any nearer. He says that this earth is sufficient for me, and he is not willing to have the constellations near to him. Constellations here, it means group of influential people. He says that I don't need company of influential people. I don't want those influential people around me. He says that he is different from them. He makes him stand apart from them. I know they are very well. They, this pronoun is used for constellations. I know they are very well where they are. I know they suffice for those who belong to them. He says that I do not belong to that community of those influential people. I am different from them. And that's why he says, I do not belong to them. From this line, from this stanza, we come to know that he is very unique. He is a distinct person. Now let's move on to the next stanza. The last stanza of the poem, it is written in bracket. This use is called as parenthesis, in which any afterthought or any explanation is added to the paragraph. Let's see it. Still here I carry my old delicious burdens. I carry them, men and women, I carry them with me. Wherever I go, I swear it is impossible for me to get rid of them. I am filled with them and I will fill them in return. He says that I am still carrying old delicious burdens. This line is written in bracket because somewhere he is willing to give vent to his emotions. There are deep inside, there are those memories of his past, which are very, very sweet memories. See the use of word here, delicious burdens. Burdens cannot be delicious. This is contradiction, and this figure of speech is called as paradox. He says that that burden is delicious. It means those memories are very, very sweet and he cannot get away from those memories. He says that he is carrying those memories of men and women with him wherever he goes. He is carrying those memories with him. He knows it very well that it is difficult, in fact, it is impossible to get rid of those sweet memories. And so he confesses in the next line by saying, I swear it is impossible for me to get rid of them. He is aware that it's not possible to get rid of those memories. Those memories will definitely accompany him wherever he would go. I am filled with them. He says that my heart is filled with those memories. And so in return also I am filling them with those memories. In this way, in this last stanza, poet has given vent to his emotions. And from this stanza, we come to know that the poet is very, very tender. He is strong physically and mentally. At the same time, he is soft with his emotions. His heart is very, very soft. He is very tender. And this poem is a perfect blend of self-awareness, free will, and yes, tenderness. The poet is very, very sensitive. Hope you liked the explanation of my poem. If you liked it, share it, subscribe it, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much.